80s is one of the best decades in terms of fashion, art, pop culture, and music. Stranger Things, along with few other pieces of media, started a new wave of retro 80s inspired movies, music, fashion, and other work of art that we see nowadays. It is one of the best TV series in recent times, but just like every great work of art, Stranger Things has a story behind it. How everything in Stranger Things is an inspiration and admiration of some great movies of the past, and how the series used references and some real events and culture of 80s. Today I'm gonna explore this extraordinary tale of Stranger Things. Hey, what's up everyone, it's Ash here, welcome to Stranger Quest. Here we hunt down legends, explore hidden, dark, weird, unspoken and forgotten stuff. The story of Stranger Things started with two brothers, Matt and Ross Duffer, known as Duffer Brothers, who were relatively newcomers in the industry. They wrote and directed their first film, a post-apocalyptic psychological thriller, Hidden, in 2015. They were inspired by well-known horror thriller filmmaker M. Night Shyamalan and tried to emulate his style. Shyamalan is known for producing some truly amazing movies like The Sixth Sense, The Village, Sign, and recently released The Visit and Knock at the Cabin, etc. After their first movie, brothers worked with their legend Shyamalan in post-apocalyptic series Wayward Pines, where they got the chance to learn from him too. Soon after, they wrote their own story by the name Montauk, which was inspired from legendary horror writer Stephen King's novel Firestarter and Needful Things. They started to try their luck, but in start all network refused to work with their ideas because of the story centered around kids. Some even suggested them to make it into a children's series, or to drop the children altogether and focus on Hopper's investigation into the paranormal. Finally, Netflix liked the idea and agreed to work with them. Their original story was set in Montauk, New York, but they later changed the name and location of the story because changing the town from real to fictional would give them creative freedom. Duffer Brothers managed to combine so many elements from the 80s very creatively. The series catches the sense of 80s down to the last detail. 80s technology, 80s fashion, 80s color grading, 80s pop culture, everything. They were especially inspired from the work of director John Carpenter and horror writer Stephen King. Stranger Things is full of 80s culture references. Let's explore that one by one. First, we see the opening title of the series, which itself is directly inspired from the 80s Stephen King's horror thriller novel Firestarter, and the film title of 80s horror movie Dead Zone, combined with the 80s inspired mysterious yet thrilling music, which prepare viewer for a journey to the mystery into the unknown. In the series we see Mike, Dustin, Lucas and Will, four friends with the later addition of Eleven and Max and others, are solving a mystery and fighting bad guys together. The concept of group of kids solving mystery, fighting bad guys while taking care of each other is not new. In fact, it was a big part of 80s media. Some of the well-known examples are 1982 E.T. Extraterrestrial, where a group of kids are on a mission to save an alien. Other films like Explorers from 1985 show some friends building a spaceship together to explore outer space. The Monster Squad from 1987 shows a group of friends saving the Earth from evil monsters. The Goonies from 1985 shows kids searching for pirate treasure after discovering an old map. All these movies define 80s kids media and was an essential part of 80s culture in general. And Stranger Things took direct influence from those movies. In the first and fourth season of Stranger Things, we see friends playing Dungeons and Dragons together. It was an essential part of the plot. In season 1, the game was used as a reference to define upside down phenomena and creatures from that dimension. Roleplay games were a big part of 80s culture because of absence of internet and limitations of video gaming. Nowadays we have our PlayStations, Xboxes and PCs at home to play games online and offline. But video gaming in 80s was quite different. It was the time of arcade, where every town had arcade halls. Kids and teens used to play video games in it. It used to be the after-school hangout point at that time. It was a complete different culture of video gaming in 80s. And in Stranger Things 2 we see exactly that, where the Stranger Things gang meet their new member Max. In season 3 we see the opening of a mall in Hawkins and closing down of small shops. Now this phenomenon was a real one in 70s and 80s America, where big malls were getting open in towns and cities and small shops were getting closed as a result of that. Addition of this in Stranger Things shows how accurately and creatively Duffer Brothers built the 80s environment in the series. We all were heartbroken when Eddie died, because that guy was just cool. And by adding Rockstar Eddie in the show, Duffer Brothers fulfill another requirement for creating perfect 80s masterpiece. Because 80s was boom time of rock, and we have one of the best rock bands from that time. AC/DC, Iron Maiden, Metallica are some of the obvious examples. In Stranger Things season 3 we see how the Soviet army makes a secret army base under Hawkins, and how Stranger Things gang fight them. Fighting Soviets was part of 80s cultures as well, because it was the time of Cold War between America and the Soviet Union. Soviets attacking America was a real danger at that time. The time was tense, and people used to have bunkers in their backyard to save themselves in case of war between Soviets and America. This fear also reached media of that time. The biggest example of this is, and also the movie that was the influence behind Soviets in Hawkins, is Red Dawn. Released in 1984, it shows America under attack and subsequently occupied by Soviet army, and a guerrilla force of freedom fighters fighting them, including teenagers. Season 1 revolves around the disappearance of Will Byers and the escape of 11 from secret government mental research facility. Conspiracy theories of government secretly researching on humans was a real thing in the 80s. Some were true and some were just hoaxes. This phenomenon was visible in media of that time as well. Absence of internet made people rely more on information they got from print media and urban legends, and it was very easy to spread rumors about anything. One example of this is Montauk Project conspiracy theory, conducted at Camp Hero or Montauk Air Force Station in Montauk, New York, for the purpose of developing psychological warfare techniques and exotic research including time travel. But there were also some true cases of government experimentation on people, like Project MK Ultra, which was an illegal human experimentation program designed by the CIA to develop drugs that could be used in interrogations. They use electric shocks, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuses, and other forms of torture to reach their goals. Although these programs are from 50s and 70s, it got into mainstream culture in 1980s. And in Stranger Things we see a glimpse of that 80s culture. In season 3 we see how shadow monsters from Upside Down try to infiltrate this dimension through controlling humans and getting inside them, then forming of a monster from combination of meat pieces from humans, rats and all. Truly a horrific scene to behold. This body horror was the result of influence this show had from the 1980s body horror films, especially 1982 The Thing from John Carpenter. John used body horror to create scary alien species in that movie. Then in season 4 we see Vecna, a true definition of horror, try to take over the world. Creation of Vecna is the result of Duffer Brothers' own childhood trauma from 80s monster, namely Freddy Krueger, Pinhead and Pennywise. These monsters reigned supreme in 80s cinema and surely imprinted minds of millions. That was the story of how 80s pop culture and general culture was the inspiration behind Stranger Things creation. Now I'm gonna talk about how knowingly or unknowingly Stranger Things is the result of merger of two forgotten movies, The Mist and Super 8. The Mist is based on Stephen King's novel and was released in 2007. The plot revolves around a small town Britain, where Army accidentally open a portal into another dimension during their secret experiments. The whole town got covered in thick fog, full of unknown creatures from other dimension. Accidental opening of a portal by shady state actors, and as a result of that, unknown forces threatening a small town is exactly the main plot of Stranger Things. Other elements of the show are very similar to another movie released in 2011, Super 8. In fact, I would be super surprised if Duffer Brother have watched this movie before making Stranger Things. In that movie, we have a small town where a group of friends, while playing around, get into an accident involving an alien, where Army people piss off an alien with their secret experiments, and that alien unleashing havoc in that small town. Although set in 1979, this movie pretty much feels like 80s. The group of kids trying to survive and look for each other, during which time they uncover the secret plot while dealing with Army people who try to cover up everything. Now, apart from opening of another dimension, Super 8 has so much stuff that we see later in Stranger Things. We see a group of friends wandering around on their bikes just like Stranger Things gang. We see addition of a girl in their gang who is similar to Max with troubled family and driving skills. We see love affair between new girl and one of the friends. Same like Sheriff Hopper. In this movie we have Deputy Jack who tried to protect his small town and his people from shady government people and all the destruction. We even see a Steve-like character who is babysitting for the kids while in action with them. He even has a mad crush on the sister of one of the boys. Even the minor details like kids communicating with their walkie-talkies is pretty much similar to Stranger Things. Along with Stranger Things, all of those movies which influence Stranger Things as it is are worth watching and are cool in their own way. That was the tale of Stranger Things. Hope you enjoyed this video. For more stuff like that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you to be part of this quest. See you on the next one. Adios.